Lying on the operating table, I watched Jenny decline my call for the 10th time. Her secretary sent me a text. "Ms. Reed is busy. Do not disturb." After the anesthesia wore off, I told her we were done. She snapped at me, annoyed. "It's an appendectomy. Iris, you're not going to die. So I made you wait a little while. Do you have to be so sensitive?" I closed my eyes. "Jenny, I'm done waiting. From the peak of summer when I was 18 to the dead of winter at 28. Waiting for her to finish that video game. Waiting for her to propose after graduation. Waiting for her to make enough money to marry me. 10 years. What a joke." When I woke up, the only thing I could smell was antiseptic. There was a thermos on the bedside table, a gift from Wendy. Inside was homemade chicken soup. The broth was clear, and the chicken was stewed so tender you could tell she'd put real effort into it. I didn't know Wendy well. We'd only met a few times. She was a powerhouse client of ours. A woman of few words and a little cold. I'd had a sudden appendicitis attack and collapsed in the conference room during our project meeting. Thankfully, she was the one who got me to the hospital. "Thank you so much, Ms. Linwood." I spooned some of the soup, and the warmth slid down my throat. Just then, my phone buzzed. It was Jenny. "How was the surgery?" "I just wrapped up. I'm heading over to be with you now." Her voice had its usual calm. I stared at the ceiling and said softly, "Don't bother. Okay, stop sulking." Her tone was laced with exasperation. "I know you're mad, but you know how important that client was, right? I couldn't just drop a multi-million-dollar deal to sit around in a hospital waiting room, could I? An appendectomy isn't even a big deal." As the anesthesia faded, the incision began to throb. I clenched my fists and took a deep breath. "Jenny, let's break up." The other end of the line went silent for a few seconds. Then, a scoff. "You want to break up again? Just because I didn't come to your surgery? Is it that serious?" A sharp pain shot from my wound, and I closed my eyes, exhausted. "It is. Iris, was I out cheating on you? Was I gambling or blowing money on strippers? I was with a client, to make money, so we could have a better future. It was a minor surgery. It's not like you were dying. Do you have to be so fragile and sensitive?" Her annoyance escalated into accusation, her voice rising. "I haven't even eaten since I finished my meeting. I was just focused on calling you back. You're not a child anymore. Can't you try to be a little more understanding? A little more mature?" Mature. Those words stabbed me like needles. I had been mature for 10 years. From 18 to 28, I learned to leave a light on for her when she came home late, to have a hangover cure ready when she was out entertaining clients, to pretend to be magnanimous when she was laughing and joking with male customers. I learned to swallow every grievance and just say, "I'm fine." But what did being mature ever get me? It got me her downplaying my pain. It got me her thinking that every emotion I had was just me throwing a tantrum. "Jenny, I'm not throwing a tantrum. I'm serious." She shot back, irritated. "Iris, don't try to guilt me into comforting you. It's not going to work." A sudden, bitter laugh escaped me. "I'm not trying to guilt you. I really don't want you anymore." I hung up. Sunlight streamed through the window, fracturing into tiny, brilliant specks of light. Turns out the world is this bright when it doesn't revolve around her. Jenny and I started dating in high school. She was my desk mate, the undisputed prettiest girl in school. Back then, she pursued me with a passion that was impossible to ignore. The principal was always warning us not to date. When our parents were called in, she met their gazes with a fiery look in her eyes and declared, "I really love Iris. I won't let it affect his studies. One day, I'm going to marry him." Even the adults were charmed by her innocent declaration. At our high school graduation, she jumped onto the stage and yelled into the microphone, "Iris, let me copy your college application list." Back then, I was the guy everyone envied. We got into the same university just like we planned. But her world got bigger, and I became the just a second she said between her busy schedule. "Iris, just wait till I finish this match. Iris, I'll come hang out after my club meeting is over." I always waited for her quietly. When we fought, she would hold me and promise, "Sure, we'll get married as soon as we graduate." But what about the proposal I dreamed of? Let me make some real money first, then I'll ask you to marry me. Just wait a little longer. We'll get married once the company is stable. Just wait a little longer. This project is critical. Once I get through this busy period, and so I waited for 10 years. But how many decades does a person get in life to just waste? Wendy came by again early the next morning. She stood at the door to my room holding breakfast, her black trench coat slightly damp and her long hair dewy, as if she'd been caught in the rain. I bought some porridge downstairs. Still hot. She set the thermos on the table. Her eyes glanced at the ring on the nightstand. A gift from Jenny. I'd taken it off yesterday. She didn't ask, just pulled something out of her pocket and handed it to me. It was a simple, elegantly designed hand warmer, black, just like her vibe. Your hands looked cold. The tips of her ears were a little red. My hands and feet are always freezing in the fall and winter. Jenny would always say, "You're just not wearing enough. Put on more clothes," as if my discomfort was just me whining about nothing. I squeezed the hand warmer, a warmth spreading through my chest. I felt a little awkward. "Ms. Linwood, this is too much." "Don't be. I just want you to get better and get back to work as soon as possible." Her tone was all business, impossible to argue with. I quickly promised, "Don't worry. The project timeline won't be delayed." "Good." She nodded, tied up the trash bag, and said, "Then get some rest." Not long after Wendy left, my best friend, Alex, arrived. He saw the breakfast on the table and teased me with a grin. "Well, look at that. Jenny's being pretty thoughtful. You can tell this porridge took some serious effort." My eyelids fluttered, my voice tight. "Alex, Jenny and we broke up. I told him what happened yesterday. He completely lost it. Is she even human? You're having surgery and she doesn't even show up. Why didn't you tell me? If I'd known she wasn't coming, I would have flown back to be with you." My best friend had been out of town on a business trip yesterday. The surgery was an emergency, and Jenny kept rejecting my calls. I don't tolerate anesthesia well, and it was Wendy who ran around, confirming the general anesthesia with the doctors over and over before signing the consent forms. Alex was cursing Jenny out. A nurse came in to change my dressing and mentioned, "Your girlfriend really treasures you. She stayed here all night after your surgery yesterday, constantly asking us questions because she was so worried." I froze for a second. So she didn't just show up this morning. One was the girlfriend I'd been with for 10 years. The other was a near stranger I'd only met a handful of times. An indescribable, sour feeling hit me right in the chest. The surgery went well, and I was discharged on the third day. On the day I left, Jenny finally appeared. She was wearing a designer suit, holding a huge bouquet of red roses that made passersby turn and stare. "Iris, come home with me." She blocked my path, her voice soft. "I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have been absent during your surgery. You can hit me, yell at me, whatever you want." She pulled a small box from her pocket. "Look, I bought you that watch you liked." I looked at her and suddenly found it all quite funny. For the past 7 years, every time she made me angry, it was always like this. First, she'd act high and mighty. Then, when my heart truly turned cold, she'd lower herself to placate me, and I would always soften. But this time I was truly tired. "Jenny, we already broke up." I tried to walk around her, but she grabbed my wrist. "All right, I know I was wrong. You've had your chance to be mad. The company just signed a huge contract. Come on, let's go celebrate. We'll go to that sushi place you love." Alex couldn't help but roll his eyes at her. "Jenny, do you have any idea that Iris just had surgery? He can't eat raw or cold food, you get that?" She froze for a second, then frowned. "Oh right, I didn't think of that. We'll go somewhere else." "You forgot? You didn't think?" Alex let out a cold laugh. "You can remember that Mr. Wilson and Mr. Lee don't eat onions or garlic, and you can remember which year of Lafayette Chairman Chun prefers, but you can't remember that your boyfriend of 10 years has a sensitive stomach? Jenny, you just don't have him on your mind at all." He was right. It wasn't that she was incapable of being thoughtful. She just couldn't be bothered to be thoughtful with me. "Jenny, I told you we broke up." I tried to wrench my arm free. She looked at me, her patience wearing thin. You just have to make a scene, don't you? I've already apologized. What more do you want? I yanked my hand hard, but she held on tight. The movement pulled at my fresh incision, sending a sharp pain through my abdomen. Jenny, let go of me. God damn it. Furious, Alex pulled her away and stood in front of me protectively. Have you no shame? Where were you when he was in surgery? Where were you when he was in agony? And now you show up with a bunch of stupid flowers. Putting on a show. Don't you know he has stitches and you can't be pulling on him? You don't give a damn if he lives or dies. You're nothing but a completely selfish monster. You shut your mouth. Jenny, thoroughly enraged by Alex's barrage of insults, snapped. Who do you think you are? Telling me what to do. It's you. You're the one always putting these ideas in his head, stirring up trouble. Every time Iris gets mad at me and wants to break up, it's you behind it. I think you're the one with bad intentions. You just can't stand to see us happy. Me? I have bad intentions? Alex was shaking with rage. Jenny, if I really had bad intentions, I would have convinced him to break up with trash like you ages ago. Would I have waited until today? Search your conscience. Do you deserve 10 years of Iris's life? Alex, I grabbed my friend's arm. My eyes started to burn, and I couldn't stop them. In that moment, I suddenly felt so exhausted. I stared at Jenny's face, twisted with anger. With all my strength, I slapped her across the face. Jenny, you're sick. And who the hell are you to yell at my friend? Get lost. She froze, staring at me in disbelief. After a few seconds of silence, she scoffed. Fine. Iris, don't you regret this? And don't you forget, I'm the one who pulled strings to get you your job. The apartment you live in is mine. Where are you going to go when you leave me? I listened to her words. A dull ache spread through my heart. I remembered when she pointed to that small apartment and said, Iris, this is our first place. Someday we'll upgrade to a huge condo, a big house. When I was miserable at my old job, she told me to quit and got me a position at her friend's company. Go there. No one will dare mess with you. All that love and protection. Now, it was just charity. So, in her eyes, I had always been some parasite, unable to survive without clinging to her. I forced a smile. I won't regret it. Iris, let's go. Every second we spend with this person is disgusting. Alex helped me into his car. I leaned back against the seat, exhausted. I felt empty inside, but also lighter than I had in years. In the rearview mirror, Jenny stood frozen in place, her face ashen, the red roses in her hand crushed and misshapen. From now on, I would never look back. Alex took me to his apartment. Not long after we arrived, I got a text from Jenny. Fine, we can break up. You have 3 days to clear all your stuff out of the apartment. Alex flew into a rage. That bastard. She's gone too far. Let's go. I'll go with you. I'd like to see what kind of crap she tries to pull. He drove me right back over. Jenny wasn't there, only her secretary with her perfect makeup. She stood in the living room with her arms crossed, her eyes full of contempt. Ms. Reed is busy. She instructed me to supervise. She deliberately emphasized the last word. Mr. Hayes, every single item you take needs to be inspected and logged by me. After all, Ms. Reed has a lot of expensive things here. We wouldn't want anything to go missing and cause a misunderstanding. Alex instantly blew up. Who the hell do you think you are? You dare talk to Iris like that? The secretary's red lips curved into a sneer. Who am I? But Mr. Hayes, from now on, you're nobody. No one's going to baby you through this breakup. Oh, and by the way, a friendly reminder for you, Mr. Hayes. Ms. Reed has a handsome, young, wealthy suitor pursuing her these days. Perfect match, a real power couple. It's probably best you clear out your ex-boyfriend junk sooner rather than later, so it doesn't offend the eyes of the new master of the house. You think you're hot stuff? New master? A piece of trash like Jenny only deserves a suck-up like you. Who are you to be barking orders about logging our stuff? Get out of the way. Alex shoved the secretary, who was blocking the path. She stumbled and fell to the floor. You're so crude and ignorant. Alex chuckled, cracking his knuckles. I'm a kickboxing champion. Say one more word and see if I don't knock your jaw crooked. He turned to shield me. Iris, go get your things. As we were leaving, he noticed I'd only taken my important documents. What about the rest? I shook my head. I don't want it. Anything connected to Jenny, I didn't want to see it ever again. He threw an arm around my shoulders. Out with the old, in with the new. Come on, let's go get a drink. I bought a bunch of new clothes in strong colors and sharp cuts, no longer trying to cater to someone else's taste. We went out for sizzling barbecue, got completely drunk, and laughed and cried at the top of our lungs. Felt so good to just please myself. The next day, however, as soon as I got to the office, my boss suddenly informed me that the project I was in charge of had been reassigned. You haven't been feeling well lately, and you've been emotionally volatile. This is a good chance for you to rest and reset. I had poured countless sleepless nights into that project, managing it from planning to execution. Now, it was just being handed over to someone else. Mr. Wallace, I've been solely responsible for this project from the start. I know every detail better than anyone. Changing leaders midstream is a huge risk for the project. And besides, I'm fully recovered and capable of handling the work. He nodded, but his tone shifted. Iris, a wise man knows when to pick his battles. You and Jenny, things aren't going so well, are they? Take some advice from an older brother. For a man, you just have to give in a little, bow your head. For a woman, once her anger passes, everything will be fine. Why throw away your job and your relationship over something so small? Does it matter who does the project? Don't be ungrateful. I understood. So that was it. Yes, Jenny had said it yesterday. The job was her favor, the apartment was hers. She was certain that, without her, I couldn't survive. No need to consider it. Quit. Iris, what's the big deal about just giving in to Jenny? You're just too stubborn. A man, has to be a little gentler to be likable. I took off my employee badge and slammed it on the table. A piece of trash like you doesn't get to define what a man should be. The days after quitting weren't easy. Although I passed interviews with several companies, I never made it past the background check. I knew what was happening. At Jenny's instruction, my former boss was sabotaging me. Just when I was at my wit's end, a recruiter suddenly contacted me. Mr. Hayes, hello. Linwood Corp is urgently hiring a project manager. I understand you were deeply involved in a predecessor project at your previous company, and your experience is a perfect match. This is a rare opportunity. Linwood was a leader in the industry, a job there was a golden ticket. But their hiring standards were notoriously tough, so I didn't get my hopes up. To my surprise, the interview went incredibly smoothly. I handled the technical questions with ease, and they were very impressed with my past project experience. They offered me double my previous salary. The final interview was with Wendy. She got straight to the point. Your former company said you resigned for personal reasons. The replacement they assigned was very unprofessional, and the project ended up being a complete mess compared to your original core plan. Linwood has already terminated its contract with them. I've seen your original proposal. Your thinking is clear, and the highlights are outstanding. You are the optimal choice to lead this project. Going from the vendor side to the client side was, for me, a quantum leap. But after hesitating, I still said, Ms. Linwood, I might not pass the background check. She didn't react much, just said, I hire based on ability and fit, not personal drama. You have a 3-month probation. The capable stay, the weak go. Can you do it or not? I didn't play coy, didn't hesitate. Suppressing the complex emotions churning inside me, I met her gaze. Ms. Linwood, I am more than capable of handling this position. Double the salary, the immense industry influence and springboard value of a Linwood project. This was a lifeline in a desperate situation. After starting the new job, I was like a machine wound tight. Wendy's standards were incredibly high, and I was busy almost every single day. It was exhausting, but also more fulfilling than anything I'd ever experienced. The satisfaction of having my work recognized had long since faded the sorrow of the breakup. Meanwhile, not long after we split, Jenny posted a photo on her social feed of 2 hands clasped together. The caption read, Sometimes you have to say goodbye to the wrong person to say hello to the right one. I thought of what her secretary had said about the handsome, young, wealthy suitor. I didn't feel the pang of sadness I expected. Instead, I felt relieved. Thank God I got out. If I had wasted a few more years with her, the sunk cost would have been even higher. As the project lead, I had to accompany Wendy to an important industry banquet. Amid the clinking glasses and schmoozing, I unexpectedly ran into Jenny. She was with a young man with flawless makeup and decked out in luxury brands. Seeing me, he immediately tightened his arm around her. A deliberate show of possession. Well, if it isn't Mr. Hayes. The man simpered, his voice not loud, but enough for those nearby to hear. I should probably thank you for raising such an excellent girlfriend for me. The surrounding conversations quieted, and a few glances drifted our way. I wasn't flustered. I just smiled calmly. That's true. People are a product of their environment. But a plant that thrives in good soil can wither in bad. As for what kind of fruit she bears with you, well, that's on you. For a moment, he looked flustered. Jenny stepped forward, her expression cold. Iris, don't be so stubborn. What's the point? I heard you were having trouble finding a job. I can make some introductions for you. I cut her off coldly. I don't need your help, Ms. Reed. Thanks to you, I'm already employed at a new platform. She looked at me in disbelief. What company would hire you? It's not some tiny startup, is it? Just as I was about to answer, Wendy appeared. Jenny quickly plastered on a fawning smile and extended her hand to her. Ms. Linwood, hello. It's an honor to finally meet you. I heard your company is taking bids for its Phase 2 project. My firm recently handled the smart transportation renovation for the South Side, so we have extensive experience. I hope you'll consider us. Wendy didn't take her hand. She just gestured toward me. All bidding matters are handled exclusively by our project manager, Iris Hayes. His decision is my decision. Jenny stood there, stunned. I gave her a polite smile. I'm sorry, Ms. Reed, but your company's current size, qualifications, and past project portfolio are far from meeting our entry requirements. For now, you are not eligible to bid. Realization dawned on her, and her voice grew agitated. Iris, how did you end up at Linwood? The man beside her glanced at me, his tone dripping with sarcasm. Who knows how he got there? Some men really know how to climb the social ladder. I chuckled, my voice calm. Better than being a bottom feeder who only eats trash. You. His face twisted in anger. I've seen plenty of men like you. You come from nothing, and you'll do whatever it takes to get ahead. Ms. Linwood, you should really watch out. Don't let certain people… Shut up. Wendy cut him off sharply, her eyes ice cold. An excellent, independent professional man stands on his own merits. Only small-minded people project their own filthy thoughts onto others. You too, please be mindful of the setting and your own status. People with ugly intentions are not welcome here. Their faces were livid, but they didn't dare argue back. I thought the little episode was over. But during a break, Jenny cornered me on the terrace. She reeked of alcohol and confronted me harshly. Iris, you better tell me the truth. Were you sleeping with Wendy this whole time? No wonder you were so determined to break up. You'd already found your next meal ticket. A sharp pain shot through my wrist as she grabbed it, her foul words washing over me. Disgusted, I swung my hand and slapped her across the face. Jenny, you're shameless. You think everyone is as disgusting as you are. Wendy and I have a completely professional relationship. You, on the other hand, had a pretty boy in your arms the second we broke up. And my project getting stolen, my being forced to quit, that was all you're doing, wasn't it? I don't owe you anything now, and you can't use anything to control me ever again. Iris Hayes, can live a much better life on my own merits. Merits? Ah, she let out a piercing, cold laugh. Why would she help you like this? Why would she give you such a high position? Iris, don't be so naive. Do you really think she likes you? Look at where you come from and where she comes from. What does she see in you? She's just after your face, the novelty. She's just playing with you. Get out. I stared at her, not wanting to say another word. Jenny, you make me sick. The night wind was cool. I leaned against the cold wall. I couldn't hold my emotions in any longer, and my eyes began to burn. From mutual love to mutual disgust. It had come to this. In that moment, I suddenly realized that all the love from all those years felt completely worthless. Here, wipe your face. A dark gray handkerchief was offered to me. I looked up. Wendy was standing in front of me. Thank you, Ms. Linwood. I took it, my voice a little hoarse. You're always thanking me. She looked at me, her gaze deep. You've helped me a lot. I looked down, hiding the shame in my eyes. A boss should protect her employees. It's my job. She paused, her voice dropping a little lower. But getting angry over people who aren't worth it is a waste of emotion. I took a deep breath, trying to calm myself. But thank you, really, for helping me out back there. What they said, please don't take it to heart. She raised an eyebrow slightly, turning to look at me. What did they say? The part about us having an affair? I was at a loss for words, my cheeks flushing for some reason. I didn't know if it was my imagination, but I always felt she was a little too nice to me. But she managed the degree of niceness perfectly. I wasn't conceited enough to think she was in love with me, but I was also keenly aware of the kind of gossip that such niceness could cause in the workplace. And I didn't want to cause trouble for anyone else because of my own issues. After a few seconds of thought, I said tactfully, I don't want to affect you because of my personal life. I'm not looking to get into a relationship right now. I just want to focus on work. My past experiences have taught me that establishing myself is more important than anything else. She was silent for a few seconds, her eyes seeming to darken. But then she returned to normal, even with a hint of a teasing smile. What, you have to mourn a breakup for 3 years? Her rare display of humor made me crack a smile. It's not about mourning, I said seriously. It's just my world used to be so small, revolving around just one person. Now I want to see a bigger world. I want to see how far I can go on my own. She nodded, a trace of admiration in her eyes. Good. In the following weeks, I threw myself completely into my work. Late nights, overtime, back-to-back meetings. But every time a proposal was approved, every time a hurdle was overcome, it brought a huge sense of satisfaction. However, Jenny didn't give up. Ever since we ran into each other at the banquet, her calls and texts started coming in like a flood. Iris, I've packed up all your things for you. I didn't throw anything away. I was just angry that day. Come back and get them. I'm not with anyone else. That was just to make you jealous. I only love you. I saw the news about your project. You're amazing, but that job is too tiring. Come back. I'll support you. The company's profits have doubled recently. You can just relax at home. I'll be the breadwinner. You don't know that, Wendy. She's the sole heir to the Linwood family fortune, the richest family in the city. So many heirs from prominent families are after her. How could she possibly be serious about you? She just sees that you have some talent and is playing with you. Iris, you're too naive. I'm just afraid you'll get hurt. Listening to these twisted truths and condescending words, I found it all utterly absurd. I blocked all her contact methods. The peace lasted less than a week. One evening, my mom suddenly called. Iris, come home for dinner tonight. I made your favorite dishes. You have to come. Thinking I hadn't seen my parents in a while, I rushed home after work. I pushed open the door to a wave of laughter and cheerful chatter. But sitting in the living room were not only my parents but also Jenny and her parents. For smiling faces turned to me in unison, their warmth unsettling. Oh, Iris is home. Come, sit down, sit down. Jenny's mother warmly pulled me to a seat, and Jenny's father smiled amiably. I heard this girl made you angry. Don't worry, your uncle has already given her a stern talking to. If you're still not satisfied, I'll give her a spanking for you. My mom immediately put food on my plate, giving me a look. It's normal for couples to bicker. Look, Jenny and her parents came all this way. What a gesture. My dad chimed in, exactly. Couples don't hold grudges overnight. Jenny told us everything. It's a good thing for a woman to be career-driven. She knows she was wrong. So stop acting like a child. Iris. I froze, listening to their words. It was all so ridiculous. Did they also think I was just throwing a tantrum, that I was the one in the wrong? All right, Iris isn't angry anymore. It's rare for both families to get together. Let's all be happy. My mom held my arm, her face wreathed in smiles. Yes. Jenny's mother clapped her hands. Since both sets of parents are here today, this is perfect. Let's pick a wedding date. I think October is great. Golden autumn. How wonderful. Yes. Let's set the date. My parents chimed in eagerly. And just then, Jenny suddenly took my hand. She knelt on one knee, holding a simple, understated platinum ring. Iris, do you like it? I had it custom made. Let's get married. Her voice was trembling with excitement as she looked at me expectantly. The proposal I had secretly dreamed of on countless nights. But now it was nothing more than a phony performance. I watched this carefully orchestrated emotional blackmail. A mix of feelings churned inside me. Look, Iris is so moved he's speechless. Snapping back to reality, I coldly pulled my hand away and said calmly, Jenny and I have already broken up. Everyone was stunned. Jenny quickly grabbed my hand again, pleading, Iris, I was wrong. Please give me one more chance. We've been together for 10 years. How can we just throw it all away? My mom tried to smooth things over. Exactly, Iris. Jenny didn't do anything unforgivable. There's no need to be so relentless. When two people are together, you have to be tolerant of each other. Jenny's parents' faces darkened. Iris, Jenny is destined for big things. Your aunt and I don't mean to criticize you, but you can't be so willful. No woman is going to coddle you forever. A boy needs to know when to quit while he's ahead. To be blunt, Jenny is successful now. She could have any man she wants, but her heart is only set on you. What more could you possibly want? Finally, my dad's voice hit me like a sledgehammer. Iris, can you just be a little more sensible? Don't make things difficult for your mom and me. My own parents now standing against me, siding with others, using accusations of being immature, ungrateful, and willful to put me on trial. I suddenly laughed. Tolerant? Sensible? Understanding? Then why don't you ask me if I was scared when I was lying on that operating table, when the anesthesia wasn't working? Why don't you ask if it hurt? Why don't you ask me how hopeless I felt when she rejected my call 10 times? But those are all just little things, right? All she has to do is lower herself to placate me a bit, and it's all fine. In your eyes, as long as this woman hasn't cheated, as long as she's willing to offer a shred of so-called sincerity, I should be grateful, right? My feelings, my pain, my dignity, in your eyes, they're all worthless, aren't they? I let out a cold laugh and looked at Jenny. Jenny, do you really think you're wrong? Not at all. You're just putting me through another obedience test. You were sure I couldn't leave you, so you thought you'd just symbolically appease me, and I'd come crawling back. You just didn't expect that I could get a better job without you, that my life would become more exciting. You saw someone better than you appear in my life, and you started to panic. You can't stand losing a possession you've tamed for 10 years. You can't tolerate the fact that Iris Hayes, no longer revolve around you. That's all it is. I straightened my back, ignoring all the stares behind me. Without a single look back, I burst out of that suffocating house. Fine, let it be this way. I was no longer someone's sensible boyfriend, nor was I someone's sensible son. My chest felt like a huge chunk had been gouged out, filled with cold wind. Perhaps in this world, all deep love is just temporary. When I was little, my parents used to lift me high, calling me the apple of their eye, saying, "No one can ever wrong our precious boy." When we were young, Jenny once stayed up all night to take care of me when I had a fever, clumsily burning the porridge and sweating with anxiety. Perhaps forever is just a grand illusion from a time of youthful ignorance. After that, Jenny and I had no more contact. I occasionally heard that her company had hitched a ride on the Irving family's success and was growing rapidly, and that young master Ethan Irving was the boyfriend she had so publicly announced. I was indifferent to it all, pouring all my energy into work. A new woman joined the marketing department at my company. She was 24, bright and beautiful. The girl was straightforward and cute, making no secret of her crush on me. She asked me out several times, but I didn't say yes. Still, my heart couldn't help but flutter a little. When Alex found out, he slapped his thigh in excitement. A beautiful, sweet young woman. Iris, you've got it made. You snooze, you lose. Go for it. I was tempted. He was right. Not all women in the world were as selfish and despicable as Jenny. Besides, now I had confidence, a career, and the ability to control my own life. Maybe it was time to take a step forward. I tried going out with her a few times. The girl was beautiful and cool, and at least on a superficial level it was quite pleasant. However, a few days later, she was suddenly given an urgent transfer to a branch office 1,000 miles away. She was busy there, and I was even busier here. And just like that, the budding romance fizzled out. One night, I was working late. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, a familiar voice called out to me. Iris, it was Jenny. She looked dejected, her eyes red and swollen. Seeing me, she straightened up, her gaze complicated. Iris, I'm getting married. I didn't stop walking. I headed straight for the exit. Ms. Reed, did you come all this way in the middle of the night to give me an invitation? Sorry, but I'm not in the habit of giving wedding gifts to my exes. She rushed forward and blocked my path, her voice urgent. Iris, if you just say you don't want me to, I won't marry him. I'll cancel the wedding right now. I looked at her, amused. Jenny, whether you get married or who you marry has nothing to do with me. Please move. Iris, how can you be so heartless? We had 10 years together. What did all that mean to you? 10 years? I scoffed. It means I was blind. Just then, the sound of steady footsteps approached from behind. It's late. I'll take you home, Iris. Wendy walked up beside me. Her eyes swept over Jenny, her gaze freezing cold. Seeing Wendy, Jenny's anger instantly ignited. Wendy Linwood. Iris is my man. He was with me from 18 to 28. 10 years. All his youth, all his firsts, all his memories are about me. You think he really likes you? Impossible. The man who slept in my bed for 10 years. And you're treating him like some kind of treasure. Before she could finish, Wendy had already stepped forward, shielding me. She didn't raise a hand, just stared at Jenny with a look so cold it could freeze you solid, and said, word by word, 10 years of devotion, and this is how you degrade him. You don't deserve him. It's time someone better loved him. Hearing this, Jenny, furious, tried to push her away. You've had your eye on my boyfriend for a while, haven't you? You shameless homewrecker. If it weren't for you, we would have never broken up. Wendy didn't budge. She just spoke coolly, her voice not loud but carrying immense weight. Ms. Reed, on my property, yelling at my person. It seems you don't want your company to see another sunrise. I quickly grabbed her wrist. Wendy, let's just go. I pulled Wendy away from that toxic scene. Back in the car, I handed her a bottle of water. Wendy, thank you. She didn't take it. Instead, she turned to look at me. Iris, do you really have to be so determined to keep your distance from me? Her eyes held a flicker of anger and an almost imperceptible hint of hurt. Her stare made me a little uncomfortable. Okay. I twisted open the cap and handed it to her. The car was small, and her presence filled the space. When our eyes met, I instinctively tried to look away. Why can't you look at me? She suddenly asked, her voice low and husky. My hand trembled, and I nearly spilled the water. She reached out, her hand closing firmly around my wrist, stopping my retreat. The warmth of her palm seeped through my skin. Iris, I don't believe you don't know how I feel. She stared into my eyes, giving me no room to escape. You said before that you weren't looking for a relationship right now. I gave you time. I was willing to wait. I respected your choice. But what happened then? Her tone was laced with resentment. What was that with the young girl? What, for her you didn't need to not consider it for now? Can people just cut in line? I froze, awkward and helpless. During my time at the company, Wendy's kindness had long since surpassed that of a boss to a subordinate. When a project hit a bottleneck, she would quietly provide key insights. When I worked late, she would happen to be on her way and give me a ride home. She even remembered the little habits I'd mentioned offhand. Bit by bit, it was like a gentle rain. As dense as I am, I understood her feelings. But the gap between us, it was just too big. The Linwood family was one of the wealthiest dynasties in the region. Wendy's older sister was a powerful figure in politics, married to the son of an equally wealthy family. How could Wendy's own marriage be a matter of personal choice? I dropped my gaze and said quietly, "Wendy, we're not right for each other. Not right." Her grip on my wrist tightened. Not right for me, but right for that little girl. What does she have that I don't? She pressed on, relentless. I had nowhere to run. She's younger than you. Wendy froze, then laughed, exasperated. Yes, she's a few years younger than me. So what? She's immature, and a single transfer order was enough to end things before they even started. See? You can't rely on little girls like that. But me, even though I'm a few years older, I'm mature, stable, and I can give you the future and the support you want, both in your career and in other areas. Wait, what was she saying? My face turned beet red. That's not what I meant. You're amazing in every way, you'd be a great partner. It's just that the gap between us is too big. She stared at me, then suddenly smiled. Iris, what did you just say? I said the gap between us is too big. No, the sentence before that. You'd be a great partner. Good. Then let's be together. Wait, what? That wasn't the point I was trying to make. It's the point I wanted to hear. Her eyes burned into mine. Iris, you're a coward. You talk a big game about living for yourself, but you're so obviously into me and you don't even have the guts to admit it. What are you afraid of? That my family's status is too high? That people will gossip? Or that I won't be faithful? She looked at me, her expression full of deep, tender affection. Iris, I won't let you lose. She was right. I was a coward. Even though I'd been shouting about independence and a new life, when faced with this profound affection, my first instinct was to retreat. But then I thought, I'm almost 30. If I don't even have the courage to chase a feeling like this, how much regret would I have for the rest of my life? What did I have to be afraid of? What did I have to lose? After Wendy and I started dating, she was like a different person. The cool, elegant, all-business Ms. Linwood disappeared. In her place was a clingy, childish, and possessive woman. Since we worked at the same company, we kept our relationship a secret to avoid affecting our work. Until a new hire joined the department, an elite, beautiful professional who had studied abroad. Unfortunately, she had terrible taste and developed a crush on me. She confessed her feelings in public, flowers in hand. That same afternoon, this elite professional was entrusted with a great responsibility by Wendy and transferred to a branch office on the other side of the planet to develop the overseas market. She cornered me in my office, her face dark. Iris, if this keeps up, I'm going to have a heart attack. You need to give me an official title. And so, the next day I was half coaxed, half tricked into going to the city clerk's office and signing a marriage license. Looking at the photo of us smiling side by side on the certificate, her anxious heart finally settled. Now let's see who dares to try and steal my man. After we got married, I attended a party for the first time as Mr. Linwood. There, I unexpectedly saw Ethan Irving, Jenny's new husband. However, within this glittering circle, Ethan was subtly excluded from the core group. He tried hard to fit in but was always quietly ignored. A few of the wealthy heirs gave me a heads up. Mr. Linwood, you might not know this since you're new here, but this Mr. Irving is an illegitimate son. The people in our circle are all from respectable families, the sons of first wives. Not just any riff-raff can squeeze their way in. Look around the city. Which family with any real standing would marry their daughter to him? In the end, he just married some female boss with no real connections who depends on the Irving family for her business. It was only then that I learned the tycoon's son Jenny had married was actually an illegitimate child. But I heard that after latching onto the Irving family, her business had grown exponentially. Her company had just completed a round of financing and was preparing to go public. The unexpected, however, happened. A month later, old Mr. Irving suddenly passed away. He went quickly, and there was no will. The estate had to be divided according to the law. But as an illegitimate son, Ethan didn't get a single penny. Legally, he wasn't considered Mr. Irving's son. Although illegitimate children have equal inheritance rights, Mr. Irving had long since been cremated, making it impossible for Ethan to prove paternity. The whole affair became a huge scandal, the laughingstock of their social circle. After the eldest Irving son took over, Jenny's company instantly lost its backing. Even more fatally, in her rush to take the company public, she had expanded recklessly, mortgaging assets for loans. Now her capital chain was broken, and she couldn't repay the loans. Overnight, the company declared bankruptcy. Jenny herself was facing prison time for embezzlement and illegal operations. Looking at her haggard, disheveled photo in the financial news, I felt nothing but calm. Life, it seems, really does have a way of balancing the books. A few days later, Jenny's parents actually showed up at the Linwood Corp building. Ignoring the security guards, they knelt before me in public. "Iris, please help Jenny. We know you married a good wife, someone rich and powerful. For the sake of your 10 years together, please lend her some money to get through this. Help her overcome this crisis. We're begging you. She can't go to jail." I looked at them quietly. I felt no sense of vengeful satisfaction. Instead, I just felt a kind of sadness. Her problems have nothing to do with me. Please leave. Wendy heard what was happening and came down from her office immediately. The first thing she did was stand in front of me protectively. She looked coldly at the two people on the ground and ordered security. "Please escort them out. And from now on, they are not allowed within a block of this building." She gently took my arm. "Don't pay them any mind. Let's go home. You're still recovering. You can't get worked up. It's not good for you." I couldn't help but smile. "I've been fine for a long time. You don't have to be so dramatic." Wendy took care of me with meticulous attention to every detail. We both love a quiet, cozy life. After work, I'll go to the supermarket and pick out fresh ingredients. I'll come home, tie on an apron, and get busy in the kitchen. I told her cooking is a great way to distress, and watching her eat every last bite of the food I make gives me a special sense of accomplishment. She remembers all my little habits, and she remembers every one of our anniversaries. She always makes time, without fail, to go with me to my follow-up appointments. Then we'll have dinner, go for a walk, and take the stray dog we adopted out. Our days are simple and stable, but filled with tiny, perfect moments of happiness.